My guests today are the luminaries in the world of music and drama, composer Huang Ruo and author David Henry Hwang, here to talk about the new recording of their opera, An American Soldier, with the American Composers Orchestra. It's out as a digital release. It's on all platforms in May of 2025. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you for making the time for us today.
Great. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Now, this opera really explores in contemporary terms the intersection of music, politics, race, identity, all that stuff, and it circulates around the story of Danny Chen. I wonder, for people who may not be familiar, you can talk a little bit about Danny Chen and who he was and what happened to him.
Yeah. So, Private Danny Chen is a real person, was a real person. He was a Chinatown kid from New York City, born in this country, who decided to enlist after 9/11 in the U.S. Army. And he was eventually sent to the Kandahar region of Afghanistan, where he was essentially hazed to death by a superior who had it in for him, who had some sort of issue with his race and his being Chinese, being an Asian American. Um, and this is the story of Danny, but also his relationship to his mother. And in a way, the emotional core of this story is a mother-son narrative and the story of the love of a mother for her son.
Yeah. Hey, Huang Ruo, do you have anything to add to that?
I think when David first shared with me of this possible story as an opera, that was back in 2012, I want to say. So it was 1 year after Danny Chen passed away. I read about it, and then David shared that with me. At the moment, I got a call from Francesca Zambello, who is the artistic director of Washington National Opera. And I think it was January of 2013 that David and I were working on his off-Broadway show, The Dance and the Railroad, and we had a wonderful time collaborating. And we both decided to create an opera. So I got the call from Francesca about looking for a story to commission for 1 hour opera. And I asked her, I say, any story you would like? And she said, could be anything, just American story. So then I asked David, and David shared with this idea of what if we create an opera based on the life and death of Private Danny Chen. So that was the genesis of this opera creation. We created a 1 hour version, premiered at the Washington National Opera at Kennedy Center. I believe is in 2014, and then later on we expanded into a full-length opera for Opera Theatre of St. Louis in 2018, and with the generous support and trust through Bill Rausch from the PAC NYC Performing Arts Center in downtown New York. We were commissioned to create this new version tailored for their theater and for the inaugural season, which just premiered last May during the AAPI month and before Danny Chan's birthday, So yeah, so that
Yeah.
was the whole journey, the arc of this this creation.
Did you guys know each other before, or had you collaborated at all, or you knew each other?
Yeah, so we had been working on, as Huang Ruo mentioned, he wrote music for a play of mine called The Dance in the Railroad, which was being revived off Broadway. And at that point, we began talking about doing an opera together.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting. A little local shout out, Huang Ruo. I feel like I've been following your career for many years. I
Oh,
used to be at WMIC in New York,
oh,
and
is that right?
yeah, and here in
Oh,
Ohio, we're just a stone's throw away from Bowling
so
Green,
yes,
and I became familiar with your music through their new music festival.
right. I was there once actually. I
Yeah,
I
and
sung
Samuel Adler, whom you stay with, is
was
a
my
good friend of
teacher.
mine. So
I
we're
just
here.
talked to Sam 2 weeks ago. He is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
almost turning 100, believe
yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah, and he's still
Wonderful
going.
small world. He's still going, and of course, is finally able to chat with you. And thank you for continuing following up and supporting what we do, which is so crucial, particularly for a time like now as well for our opera.
Yeah. Well, I also was an opera singer in my day, and
Ah,
I made
the
my
baritone
debut
or bass.
a tenor, actually.
You're
I
a
was a
tenor,
tenor.
but you sound much
Yeah,
lower.
I am now, but back in
I
the
see,
day,
I see.
I was a little higher. But I got my start with Francesca Zambello. She
Ah,
directed directed my premiere performance, and I worked a lot at Opera
fabulous.
Theater at St. Louis. So I feel like, there's some
Right, many
connection
layers
going
of
on there.
overlapping. And I love Opera Theatre of St. Louis, and
Yeah.
it has been great breeding ground for new operas as well. So
Well, listening to this opera, which I was telling David I've been doing all day long, all morning, and
uh-huh.
being involved in opera myself, that is, it seems like a perfect blending of the libretto and the music here as well.
Mhm.
And one thing that stands out to me is in this recording, I can understand everything that everybody says. You don't
Mhm.
always hear that in opera.
Right.
And I wonder, if you can talk a little bit about the usage of opera as an art form to enlighten these contemporary issues, and, what role does opera play, should it play, in your
Mhm.
opinion, in the political landscape?
Oftentimes, operas are traditionally set in period. They're set in the past. They're sort of epic or mythological stories. Um, but there are many contemporary stories which also are really well suited to opera. And of course, there are many examples of that as well. Um, so the question becomes, is a story suited to opera because it has kind of big emotions? It has clear moral questions. It's about love and death. Um, and that can overlap with stories which also have a kind of sociopolitical framework to them. And we feel that this is one of those stories that, yes, it's contemporary, and yes, it has many implications for where we are as a country, but it also has the big emotions that are necessary to power the music in an opera.
What was the reaction when it premiered? I mean, from the audience and from the performers, from the standpoint of somebody who knows opera, I mean, what has been the reaction to this opera?
I would say so far has been very positive.
Yeah.
We even got Mr. Tomasini, Anthony Tomasini from the New York Times when he came to review our St. Louis production, and he at the end of the year, the New York Times selected us as one of the you know in the old days at least they have the 10
Oh, sorry.
highest moments of a class selection. So we're was well received from the audience and from the critics alike. But of course, the most rewarding reception to us actually is from Danny Chen's family, particularly Mother Chen. Uh, Obviously, one of the biggest challenge to us was this happened so fresh, so recent. When we created was just 1 year after Danny Chen passed away. Uh, a lot of people, except for Danny, sadly, were still living. And how could we create the story that is not only accurate, but also could be inspirational,
Yeah.
could wake people up to address the issue we hope to address, to make it believable. So that to us, no hard critic than Danny Chen's family and his parents. And fortunately, uh, uh, and Chen even gave me a big premiere to say people in more well go through what she went through. Uh, so yeah, so that to me is important.
Yeah. Well, it's so powerful in the way that it encapsulates the drama as well as doing it in a different way, in an artistic way. I wonder what your working relationship was. Did David just hand you a finished libretto, or did you say, I need this kind of thing, to satisfy my musical cravings, as it were?
Well, I happen to believe that one of the jobs of the librettist is to try to help the composer to do their best work, because I think that ultimately the operas are going to rise and fall based on the music. So Huang Ruo and I talked quite a bit about this story, and then I created an outline, a sort of summary of what the scenes would be. We went back and forth on that, and then I wrote the actual words that would be sung, and Huang Ruo wrote the music. But then we kind of went back and forth a few more times, particularly because there were two different iterations. There was the 1 hour iteration at Washington National Opera, and then the full-length version, which premiered at Opera Theater St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to add that it has been a very, very fruitful collaboration. I was so fortunate to get to know and get to work with David, who also has become my mentor for so many years. And I learned a great deal from him, not only his artistry, but also his belief and how we could together advance our society forward. So with our collaboration, I always felt a great support from David, of course, and I also a little bit disagree with David that I do feel a success of an opera also has everything to do with the plot line and the words as equally as the music. But I think because of that collaboration, we so far we have written 4 operas together, and this American Soldier being our first one, and our fourth one, the newest one, is called The Monkey King, which will be premiered at the San Francisco Opera this November 14th to 30th this year, later this year. So what works well for us is we don't wait until the end after David finished everything, and then I step in because it's like creating a piece of symphony or music. You need to know the structure first.
Yeah.
First of all, we need to know how long we want to write, and then within that duration and estimate duration, we want to plan. How many acts and where's the chorus, where is the solo, where's the duet. We want to plan those kind of things for the character ahead of time. And when David is writing, he knows, okay, here's the place for aria, here's the place we have a soldier's drinking song, and here's the place we have the trio of Act One. So those things does affect how the words will become. And and I know David writes differently when is a recitative or when there's an aria. In his own way, of course. So that actually helped me tremendously. When I see certain, I know David style so well now. Sometimes when I read first time of what he sent me, I know immediately what where should take more place time and where should move forward, things like that.
Yeah.
I also have to add that Huang Ruo is very smart dramaturgically. Like he really understands dramatic structure very well, so that almost always we'll kind of get to the end of the composition section, and then Huang Ruo will decide, oh, we need what in Broadway terms we call an 11 o'clock number, sort of a big emotional climax towards the end of the opera, and he's always right about it, and that always ends up being my part of my favorite music in that in the respective operas.
Well, I love that
Thank you.
those conventions, those operatic conventions, are taking place still in this
Mhm.
contemporary opera. I wonder if there was any part that was difficult for you to write, Huang Ruo, and maybe something that you wanted to avoid or you didn't understand completely, and you had to go to David to work it out.
Yeah. Well, of course, our communication is ongoing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need one more phrase, or I need one word less. Things like that. I believe happen to a lot of composer and librettist team. Um, and I think, aesthetically, to me, uh, I I feel opera has been an art form that has always been surrealistic in a very ahead of its time way, right? So when you have a moment, everything stops, and the character is singing an aria, and the clock tick very slowly. Now that's surreal, In theater, you could say to be or not to be as slow as you can, but you can't really be too slow, and you can't repeat too many times. But in opera, you could, and so I love I love to keep those important ingredients of opera. Also, when you have three or four people singing simultaneously. In play or in movie, that's not possible, or considered strange. And in opera, we had this tradition of a quartet and trio. That also, through music, we could hear everything. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel having those ingredients we want to put in, and then it actually helped the plot line. For example, in American Soldier, we have David masterfully created this very complex layer of Danny appeared as a ghost, so that is already surrealistic. And then Mother Chen, through the witness court document, she actually experienced herself in in Danny's life and time in Kandahar in Afghanistan. So she was there witnessing Danny was suffering, but of course, it's surrealistic. Danny did not see her, and she was not really at that moment at that time. But then musically, you need to have her voice commenting on what happened, and then you have a soldier being a witness to tell the judge what happened, and then you have Danny acting out the scene with his fellow soldiers of what exactly happened. So we have these three very different space and time overlapping each other. Meanwhile, they're all singing at the same time. So how to create that? And I do believe music could serve the ingredients to make it work. And of course, opera is the place to have those kind of moments.
Yeah. That's great. Um, in listening to some of the duets and soliloquies and arias, it seems very simple, but it's very complicated in the way that you use the voice. I I wonder if you could talk a little bit, Huang Ruo, about the voice itself, the usage of the voice, and any thing that stands out to you in that regard.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. I think each opera, each character, uh, we should think about the voice differently. Now, one benefit, also one challenge of writing opera, unlike in an orchestra, everyone is tuning into oboe, and you have 24 violin, all try to play exactly the same sound, same tune, same direction, same bowing of the concertmaster or the sectional principal. So it's about unity. But when you have two sopranos, not to mention three, four, five, these two sopranos will sing very differently. Each person has a different voice, no matter you are category as soprano or metal, so that's the beauty of it. But also that's the challenge, how to know which character is which voice type. Danny Chen, of course, is a young man and in his early 20s or late teens, and so his voice type, I created a light lyric tenor for that matter.
But
I
it's
think
not easy, I should add.
not easy, not easy.
Listening to those
I do
high
have high
notes.
C. Yes, I do have several high Cs. But again, you need to sound, in movie, you say the person need to look believable. In opera, we should add that person should sound believable. Josephine, and Mother Chen, Sergeant Markham. So all these voices, according to their character, to their age, to what they sing, then we decide which voice type should go. Now, of course, as what you mentioned, a lot of time you could hear the text very clearly, and that to me is crucial and important. And we talk about the craftsmanship of creating opera, setting words, and there are certain golden rules I still follow, and when I teach my students, I also tell them as well. Each language needs different way of setting. Writing Chinese, I also wrote several Chinese operas. Uh, Setting Chinese is totally different from setting English, and you can't use one way to apply for the other. I believe writing for German or Italian must be the same as well. You need to really know the language to set it. But the key point is to have the audience to hear it, to understand it. Hopefully, not relying on the subtitle too much. So the delivery of the clarity of the words and its meaning through music, that's my guiding North Star.
What do you both hope to give the audiences? What should audiences take away from this? How you think that it will affect society, and how would you like it to affect society?
I mean, I hope that in this moment when, the very definition of what it means to be an American is called into question, that this opera will first and foremost be a wonderful piece of music, and emotionally engaging and powerful. But also, the subject, I think, compels us to ask to recognize that sort of immigrants and people from traditionally marginalized communities are really central to America's history and present and heart and identity.
I think to me, it has been a great privilege to giving this subject to write about by Danny's family in trust in us. And our goal also is very simple. We want more people to know about um, what happened to Danny Chen and why that happened. Was that one isolated instance, or has been due to continuations of histories of racism towards Asian and Asian Americans. So I think there's no easy answers to those questions, but at least people could learn about it, know a little bit about it through our opera, and then they might be curious about it to do some more research, to understand why, and so that is our simple hope. And of course, as opera, it is a piece of musical art, and we do hope people like listening to the music and the storytelling with the words, and hopefully more singers were able to sing it. And after all, it's an opera created for hopefully generations of singers, and to have other productions in the future. So it's a piece of art. Yeah.
Composer Huang Ruo and librettist David Henry Hwang, thank you so much for making time for us today. Thank you for the music. And this opera, An American Soldier, that title means something totally different to me now, after having heard the opera, by the way. That opera, American Soldier, An American Soldier, is premiering on all digital platforms in this month. I want to thank both of you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, really
Thank you
appreciate
so
talking to
much.
you.